The most hated college football teams of all time have the faces of the coaches you disliked and the quarterbacks who probably defeat your favorite squad with accuracy. Nobody likes winners, especially consistent ones, and these teams have overhead others in the hate department over the last few decades after unforgettable seasons at the top of the polls. In this video, you're going to be amazed by the list of the most hated college football teams. Before starting the video, subscribe to our channel and smash the bell icon to never leave out any of our forthcoming videos. Number 8. Alabama Crimson Tide. The Alabama Crimson Tide consists of the 21 men's and women's varsity team that symbolize the University of Alabama. After appearing at number 1 in the coaches poll final week, the rest guaranteed the Crimson Tide would seize and hold top honors in the media's AP rankings to begin the season too. Delivered the hype surrounding the revert of Bryce Young and Will Anderson as potentially the top 2 selections in the 2023 NFL Draft, there's no understanding why Alabama wouldn't grip top billing until a surge of Ohio State heavy votes goes in favor of the Buckeyes. Nick Saban's squad is loaded on both sides of the ball, coming up right short last season. Despite illuminating his transition a year comments to begin to descend camp, Alabama is encouraged to win it all, and odds makers agree. They faked 5 of their 16 national championships, but the NCAA only credits them with 11. Number 7. Ohio State Buckeyes. Everybody hates a winner. The Buckeyes are great, there's no other way to put it, but their current failures in national headline games are augmenting on people. The Buckeyes have been a dominant power in the Big Ten, but their failures have caused others to bear the conference's weak, delivering them a free pass despite making them win it on the field. The whistle gets wind around the world. Miami fans still want a justification from Terry Porter on what precisely he saw when Hurricanes ballhawk Glenn Sharp covered Buckeyes wideout Chris Gamble in the end zone, only to be known for defensive holding to extend the national championship game into overtime. Ohio State would someday win by beating top-ranked Miami 31-24 to surprise the defending national champions. The Buckeyes appeared to have a flair for the dramatic during Jim Tressel's only national championship season. They benefited from some calls, containing that big one, to be the final squad standing. Ohio State's star freshman Maurice Clarett was trash-talking ball carrier nobody appeared to like in the Big Ten or nationally. He couldn't remain out of trouble and then was dismissed by the university. Number 6. Notre Dame Fighting Irish. A late-season loss to Boston College squandered an excellent season and national headline for the Irish, who were angered, later completing the number 2 besides Bobby Bowden's Florida State Seminoles, a squad Notre Dame defeated head-to-head in the game of the century before last season. Lou Holtz let poll voters discover it, and the racket indirectly led to the beginning of the Bowl Championship Series, a computer-based rankings order familiar with finding which 2 teams would play for the national title. During 1988 and 1993, Notre Dame won 88% of its games and became part of America's teams as a national television staple. But the Irish had many enemies. That 2012 Notre Dame is a close second. The Irish lost 28 points to Alabama in their national championship and saw all their wins vacated after almost winning their first national title since 1988. The issue America had with that Notre Dame team was the 5 close wins, 5 by a touchdown or less, that kept Notre Dame inside the top 5 and into striking distance of the last all over the season. Manti Te'o's fake girlfriend was a wild story that emerged before the final matchup of that fall. Number 5. USC Trojans. If it's the 5-star recruits or the actors on the sidelines, USC is the squad everyone loves to hate. Pete Carroll has already been wonderful at carrying in talent, and being in part of the largest media markets in the country, USC knows how to mix the glitz and glamour of Hollywood with football. The dignity days of the 21st century USC football came to a head in 2005 when the Trojans were front and center every week on College Game Day with Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush, and others dominating the national conversation. Everyone knew about the winning stride, and East Coasters were frequently glued to TVs every Saturday for late-night action. USC Texas was possibly the greatest hype machine game of all time, and it is given as Vince Young and the Longhorns gain in the ending seconds, snapping USC's run at the top. Earlier that season, Bush assisted USC in defeating Notre Dame by driving Liner into the end zone in South Bend, and in the end, won a Heisman that was then stripped. The Trojans featured part of the majority of explosive offenses of all time, scoring 50 or more points 7 times that season. Number 4. Michigan Wolverines. The Michigan Wolverines include 27 starter teams at the University of Michigan. These teams play in the NCAA's Division I and the Big Ten Conference in all sports, apart from women's water polo, which competes in the NCAA Interdivisional Collegiate Water Polo Association. Michigan has the finest report of any college football team, and their fans will never let anyone forget it. They create the game about over-moral football and attack straight at a school's reputation. The Wolverines stay football's winningest program with 869 victories, a source of pride for a fan base repeatedly branded as arrogant. The Michigan man ideal reinforces the perception, and Michigan's fixed TV exposure annoys many people. Number 3. Texas Longhorns. The Texas Longhorns athletic programs include the University of Texas at Austin sports teams. Mack Brown drove the Longhorns to an 81% winning percentage, but has only won one Big 12 championship in his career at Texas. Mack Brown and the Longhorns preserve to call in top recruits year after year, and though the talent is carrying and winning seasons, the Longhorns carry on to conflict to get people across the hump. However, there is consistently someone to tell people that this is the time for the Longhorns. Longhorn fans hate everyone else and make bad designation calls and jokes about all the other teams, and if they win by 2, they run over them. If they lose by 20, the opponent played dirty. Texas fans consistently act like Texas is the finest squad in college football every year, yet they have won 1 national title in 1970 and 3 Big 12 championships since 1996. Number 2. Florida Gators. The Florida Gators are the intramural sports teams that symbolize the University of Florida located in Gainesville, Florida. When Steve Spurrier, bound for the NFL, and Ron Zook took over Florida, things felt greater for the state. Later, a few down years, Ron Zook displayed the door, and Urban Meyer took over, later selecting Florida over Notre Dame. Florida was rear in a national highlight in 2 years by destroying Ohio State in the national title game. Probably it is Mr. Wonderful, Tim Tebow, or maybe it's all the whining Urban Meyer did, but Florida's a sports team which comfortably gets below your membrane. Recently, accusations have come out against Urban's recruiting tactics containing providing a gymnast with a scholarship to get her boyfriend to play football. College football is a win-at-all-cost sport, but it certainly is annoying when you see the Gators of the 90s recent what seems to be a downfall. Love or despise them, and the Gators seem to be a force in the SEC for the future. Number 1. Miami Hurricanes. The Miami Hurricanes are the sports team of the University of Miami, located in the Coral Gables suburb of Miami, Florida. Miami has not been what the vast majority would connect as a neat program in such a way that is impartial and an additional cause to dislike them. According to most of the outsiders seeing in, Miami could win the ACC Coastal this season ahead of schedule. There's a reason ACC journalists are elevated on the Hurricanes, and as expected, the remaining of the state watched Mario Cristobal's program favorably. But also did Cristobal hire arguably the most impressive staff of assistants upon arrival from Oregon. But the Hurricanes have a quarterback who's a dark horse Heisman Trophy candidate. It surely feels like the Hurricanes are receiving the profit of the doubt heading into the fall season, and in that manner, a national ranking inside the top 20 to kick things off. Hope you liked this video. Let us know if you've ever hated any of these football teams. That was all for today. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll be back with another informative video.